Tell us a little bit about that interview you had with him, because we know this is a three-parter. We'll have more on that in just a second. But from your conversation with him, what did Babcock take away from his time away from the NHL?
The amazing thing to me is that if you know Mike Babcock, he's a coach. He's a competitor. That's who he is. And he really unplugged over the last 3.5 years. You know, he loves to read, but he was reading for fun, not to self-improve himself, right? He mentored coaches, but because he enjoyed that, not because he wanted to stay current and get back in the league. He was an advisor at the University of Vermont that was close to skiing. He worked at the University of Saskatchewan, mostly so his son could get an MBA and coach with him. He really was not angling for, an opportunity to get back in the NHL, but working with his son worked for the Senators at the end of last season. He started to break down games, and he really got the bug again. And here he is. I think it's a great opportunity for him, and I think it's a great opportunity for Columbus.
Absolutely. So, you mentioned part of that journey back and really waiting for the right opportunity. How is he feeling overall about returning to the bench? Because we know when he left last, there was some criticism that he was facing overall from what was coming out about players. How's he feeling emotionally getting back to lead an NHL club?
Well, I think he recognizes that there's been a disconnect in his communication between the way it's delivered and the way it's received. He knows he needs to make some changes. One of the big things is he doesn't realize he does it in the moment. And so he's asked everybody in that organization to let him know if he crosses the line and to be honest with him. He's also going to have a communications plan and a mental health plan for each player. What does that look like? What are the details? That's something we get into in part 2 on Friday. But essentially, it comes down to this. He's going to talk to each player about how they want to be coached, how they want to be spoken to, what's best for them. He also is going to talk to each player about their mental health and just to make sure that they're comfortable, not really coming to him, but making sure that they have a plan for their mental health, somebody to talk to, an expert, and just to be open, upfront, and honest about all of that and proactive.
Yeah, certainly you can tell that there's been that growth and just getting that feedback from all aspects for when he does take over for Columbus. I think that is huge, knowing he's implementing those things. Why did he think that Columbus was the right fit for him after this hiatus?
Well, there's a long list of reasons, but I think the most interesting thing for me is that this is a great opportunity for him. This is a good team. They had 59 points last year, 31st in the NHL, but they were decimated by injuries. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. They have young players. They have difference makers. They added 2 veteran defensemen in the offseason. They selected Adam Fantilli, number 3 in the NHL draft. There's a lot to be excited about with this team, and I think he feels if you add structure, suddenly your goaltending is going to be better. You're going to have the puck more. Those difference makers are going to have a chance to star, and he's going to get the best out of this team. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for growth. If you look at his time in Toronto, his first season, they were last in the NHL. They drafted Austin Matthews. In a couple of years, they set team records for wins and points. So I wouldn't be shocked if in 2 or 3 years we look back on this and see that Columbus has improved greatly.
Yeah, you think already just on paper with him joining and some of their additions that they will be a much improved team. And you talk about really that growth that Mike Babcock has shown. And I want to just get your take. And when you had that interview with him, just sitting down overall, did you get that sense that he is a changed man and he's ready for this new NHL that he is about to experience?
Well, that's not for me to judge. And I think time is going to tell. I mean, there's a lot of people who have a lot of negative things to say about Mike Babcock. I know a lot of players who say, I hated his guts, but he helped me win. He helped me succeed individually. And I know a lot of players who love him, who speak very highly of him. Zach Werenski tells me a story that'll be in the next part 2 here on Friday, where, he met with Mike Babcock at his house for like 3 hours. He gets in his car. He has a text from an old teammate that says, give me a call. He doesn't know what it's about, so he calls him. He was calling him about Babcock, and he said, you're going to love him. And, there's a lot of players who say that. So I think, let's have an open mind here. Let's see what adjustments he's made. Let's see what changes he's made. And let's see how it all plays out. But I know that he has made an effort to make a change, and we'll see if that makes a difference.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to it. And we're looking forward to the rest of this article. Again, 2 more parts coming. You've already dropped a couple of nuggets about what is to come on Friday. The part 3 will be coming out on Sunday. Can you give us a little teaser there, Nick?
Well, sure. I mean, part two is about the communications plan and the mental health plan. And then part three is about what he feels about the Columbus Blue Jackets. And we're going to talk about everything from whether Patrick Laine is going to play center to how they're going to improve their structure and really what he's looked at analytically in the offseason in terms of areas where Columbus can get better. Really, he took last season, crumpled it up, threw it away, said, I'm not going to look at that. Let's not catch what they did wrong. Let's catch what they did right. So it's a fresh start for him. It's a fresh start for Columbus. And honestly, it's going to be fascinating to watch.
Yes, again, we are so looking forward to it. And I encourage everyone to head to NHL.com right now to read part one of this interview. Nick Kostanica, thank you so much for joining us here on NHL Tonight.